Taylor Lautner used to be a very prominent actor in Hollywood, going from child star in Shark Boy and Lava Girl to the heartthrob in the Twilight saga. Taylor had a good thing going for him, but since then he's slipped through the cracks and we don't really see him in very many productions anymore. Why is that? Well, dear viewer, I'll tell you. Compared to his former castmates like Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson, Taylor wasn't able to hold on to the success that he got from being in the Twilight movies. In fact, it was right after the series ended that Taylor's career started to fumble. Like any other actor would, he started looking for work and he was cast in a few movies. His first film after Twilight was Abduction, and unfortunately it bombed at the box office. Following that failure, he was booked in another role a few years later in the film Tracers, and that didn't do very well either. At this point, Hollywood was starting to notice this new pattern of movie failures, and it was at this point that Taylor's career started to suffer. Before I continue on with the video, I just want to ask you guys to consider leaving a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far. Thank you for your support and for helping our channel grow, we really appreciate it. The films Taylor starred in following his time in the Twilight saga were both action films, and since they both ended up tanking and getting poor views, people started thinking that maybe Taylor just wasn't cut out for these kinds of movies. I mean, when you think about it, he became a big name actor through Twilight, and his character was essentially there for the sex appeal. He was good at looking good and being dramatic. After all, it was a teen drama film. So coming out of that and seeing him fail at being an action star, people just assumed that since Taylor was Jacob Black for so long, that he was lost in Twilight's shadow. Even though Taylor branched out from action and tried comedy, his 2016 film The Ridiculous Six failed as well, and is also one of the few films to have a 0% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. So now at this point he's failing as an actor. He's not getting booked for any new roles because of the fact that productions that he's been in have failed, and people are thinking that Taylor just can't hold his own. Taylor has said that after Twilight was over, he wanted to branch out and try different styles and genres, since he'd really only been in one or two things throughout his career before then. He didn't want to become a stale actor, but unfortunately that's what he was becoming. On top of that, no one wanted to hire him because of his asking salary. Though he still saw himself as a big name actor, other executives did not, so his asking salary of $10 million per production seemed a little too steep a price point for taking a risk on Taylor. All of this was just hurting Taylor's career even more. You see, so many people are saying that Taylor needs to grow as an actor, and to do that he needs to be in a bunch more productions so that he can evolve his acting style and be able to adapt better to life outside of Twilight. He was in that franchise for so long that he's almost forgotten what else is possible for him. But on the other side of things, he isn't being given the chance to evolve and grow as an actor because Hollywood just won't give him a chance. They've seen his movies fail and they don't want to risk it again. Kristen and Robert were able to make it and grow out of Twilight and become bigger actors, so why can't Taylor? And how can you grow like his former co-stars? The answer is indie films. After Twilight ended, both Kristen and Robert dabbled in the indie film scene, and since these are out of Hollywood's reach for the most part, anything goes. These films have smaller budgets and don't have major corporations breathing down their necks, so really anything is possible on the indie scene, and things are more creatively liberating. But how does this help actors? Well, it gives them the perfect opportunities to grow. Like I mentioned, Robert and Kristen were able to shed their Twilight skins, if you will, and were able to outgrow that franchise because they took some time to act in indie films and grow as actors. Though they're still questioned about Twilight and compared to their roles from those days, they're also still cast in a lot of big Hollywood films because Hollywood knows that they're more versatile. I mean, Robert has gone from Twinkly Vampire to Batman, so success is possible. If Taylor wants to do what he said and grow as an actor, indie films are the perfect place to start. There are an array of different roles to film and so many genres to try out, and since they're independent films, there's more creative freedom and place to grow than within a big budget corporate Hollywood film. If he takes some time to grow in the indie scene, he might be Hollywood ready in a couple years, and he could very well make a comeback, even to the degree of Kristen and Robert. Right now though, it doesn't seem like he's all that interested in making his return. He's reportedly working on his relationships, his family, and himself, but maybe if he feels like he's ready to try again, we could see a second coming of Lautner. Now I want to throw it over to you guys and get your opinions in the comments. I know we haven't seen very much coming from Taylor in recent years. He's been in a few episodes of Scream Queens, but other than that, we haven't really seen much else from him. Do you guys think he can make a comeback, especially if he tries indie films like I had suggested? There have been so many other Twilight actors who were never really able to pick up on their fame since the saga ended, so do you think that Taylor can do it? I know he's had some movies tank in the past, but I don't know, I just feel like he wasn't given a fair chance. Hollywood saw him as a gold mine of potential at first, but later on when things didn't pan out, he was basically just dropped. But I feel like Robert and Kristen were given a better chance because they were slightly more famous and likable in the industry. It's all just speculation in my own opinion, but let me know your thoughts on the matter. I would personally love to see Taylor make a comeback, and not as the guy with the muscles, but in a real meaningful way, you know? Also, he could have used the Shark Boy and Lava Girl reboot to make a comeback, but he didn't. He turned it down instead. Does this mean that he's done with acting? I don't know. I think I'm just mad because he would have made that movie great, especially if he rebooted the Dream song. Anyway guys, thanks so much for watching the video, and thank you for all of your support on the channel. I've been your host, Bria Room, and until next time, stay safe, stay hydrated, and stay groovy, friends. Kristen and Robert were able to make it and grow out of Kristen and Robert. Kristen and Robert